Привет everyone, Raf is on the air and we will discuss a bit of Natlan lore from Dev's stream. Finally, we learned what is going on in Natlan and what its history is. For centuries, people of the Pyro region have been protecting their homeland, mainly from the influence of the Abyss. The previous Pyro Archon, along with the 6 legendary heroes of the past, were able to repel the onslaught of the Abyss. Their fire is still alive and leads current generation to new victories. 6 tribal heroes, together with the ex-Pyro Archon, defended land from the attack of the Abyss after the Kandria cataclysm 500 years ago. But maybe this war has more ancient roots. Thus, the sacred flame was ignited, carrying the spirits of those ancient heroes and the ex-Pyro Archon. While sacred flame is burning, Natlan has divine protection. Under the leadership of Mavuika and the following generations of warriors, Natlanians managed to contain the Abyss. Tribal clashes and quarrels are in the past, and the war itself has become more of a sport and cultural ritual tournament between selected representatives of the 6 tribes. But the clouds are gathering over Natlan. We are told about the Night Kingdom. It is a kind of spiritual material dimension or place that contains the collective memory of Natlan. The Abyss is eager to gain control of this night realm, and Mavuika's plan has reached a dead end at the moment. Pyro Archon herself is the strongest warrior in Natlan, having achieved countless victories, but she is the one who says that her homeland has a maximum of a year left before the Abyss takes control of the Night Kingdom, which means the sacred flame will fade and Natlan will be devastated. Only in Natlan, of all the countries in Teyvat, heroes continue to fight the Abyss after they die, passing on their ancient names to new generations. But at the same time, if a warrior who inherited the ancient name dies in the fight against the Abyss, then the ancient name, with the spirit of the ancestor, will also sink into oblivion. Each tribe has their own obsidian stone, which is associated with the ancient names and the feats of ancestors, lives and deeds of every Natlan heroes engraved on obsidian to inspire people. The first harbinger of Fatui, Il Capitano, directly tells Mavuika that her plan has failed, and now he will establish new rules in Natlan, challenging the Pyro Archon. Mavuika notes that Capitano motives are, among other things, personal, and not just related to the Tsaritsa will. Thus, it can be assumed that the Harbinger may be associated with the Land of Fire. We were told that overheating is not a threat to him, which, coupled with the Ice Blade, may indicate that somehow Captain has control over the cryo element, perhaps some special form of it. If we now take a break from the battle between Capitano and Mavuika and return to the Traveler, this time we will not receive the power of Pyro by just touching the Archon statue. The reason for this will be the story twist. Accompanied by warriors of 3 tribes, Kachina, Mualani and Kinich, Paimon and Traveler moved to the Stadium of the Sacred Fire, where the stages of the Pilgrimage of the Return of the Sacred Fire ceremony and the permanent tournament between warriors of 6 tribes and their companions, the Saurians, take place. Saurians live side by side with humans, working, resting and fighting together with them. In Natlan, the Pyro element manifests itself in a special form called Phlogiston. Phlogiston manifests in diverse states of aggregation from stone to lava and is used by Natlan people for various purposes. from source of energy to battles and rituals. This is a fairly general information about the Pyro region, but I will be true to myself and want to talk about reference from real world. Firstly, there is an interesting point with the guardian spirits in each tribe, who are called Wayop. Mayans called Wayop people who are able to shift into an animal form, and the word itself is translated as sleeping. Well, probably the most interesting reference is the entire setting of Natlan itself, the cult of ancestors, and the world of spirits associated with night or darkness in general is a fairly common plot in the cultures of many peoples. But we will turn again to the Maya, since many of their myths largely formed some characters and lore of Natlan. Like other peoples of Mesoamerica, the Maya had cyclical ideas about the world. The main epic of this people is called Popol Vuh by researchers. It tells about the creation of the world, different generations of gods, and a little about the history of the people. The Popol Vuh gives a sequence of 4 efforts of creation. First were animals, then wet clay, wood, and then last the creation of the first ancestors from maize. The best known hero myth included in the Popol Vuh is about the defeat of a bird demon and of the deities of disease and death by the hero twins Hunahpu and Xbalanque. Xbalanque is supposedly the name of Pyro Dragon in Genshin. Father and uncle of Hunahpu and Xbalanque were also twin gods and were keen on ball game. Lords of the underworld called Xibalba lures them underground and killed. And here again, the story echoes the fact that if the warriors of Natlan die in the underworld, fighting the abyss, they die forever. Having descended the steep steps into the kingdom of the dead, first they safely passed traps and tests, but finally the last trial was supposed to decide their fate, and it was called House of Darkness. The demonic messenger brought each of the brothers, covering in fear and darkness, a lit torch and a cigar made of tobacco leaves, warning them to return everything they had received the next morning in the same form in which it had been given to them. But the brothers did not heed the advice and burned the torches and cigars to the ground, after which they had failed the test and they were sacrificed. The head of the elder brother was separated from the body and hung on a pumpkin tree, which had previously never borne fruit, and suddenly, miraculously, began to bear fruit, so that the head was completely lost among these fruits. The amazed demons ordered that no one should ever approach this tree again and under no circumstances eat fruits, after which they buried the bodies of both brothers in a common grave. This story has much in common with the well-known mythologies of other peoples about dying and resurrecting gods. Hunahpu himself is currently identified with the young god of corn, who dies annually under the reaper's sickle and returns the following spring. The Popol Vuh epic itself is also not alien to the motive of the return of fathers who come to life again in countless generations of their descendants. The death of both brothers serves as a necessary prelude to the birth of divine twins and the victory over the demons of death. Here we can draw some parallels with the Kingdom of Night and Xibalba, as well as the resurrection of heroes, Natlan heroes, in flames. The ban on approaching the sacred tree was broken, and after some time, and this was done by a woman named Bloody Moon, the daughter of Blood Collector. Having heard stories about the magic tree, she of course couldn't resist the desire to taste its fruits, which were in fact skulls, very close to Garden of Eden, Apple and Eve from Old Testament, by the way. The skull of Hunahpu asked her to stretch out her hand, on which a few drops of saliva fell. This saliva magically disappeared and the woman became pregnant from the dead god. Then she left Xibalba and Hunahpu and Xbalanque were born. In some way they repeated their father's and uncle's journey to Xibalba, but in the end they won a victory and defeated Xibalba's lords. Here we can, as I said, found some parallels between myth and Natlan lore. And we also can remember the beliefs of the Yoruba people, where there is also a spirit world. Also, if we speak about Africa, we can hear beautiful music of Natlan from live translation with lyrics on Swahili language. I would like to note that all information of Natlan looks very promising. We will have to help unite the tribes and fight back the abyss while looting the power of Pyro. In addition, the developers said that we will meet new characters not from Teyvat. In general, there are more and more aliens. You can guess who it will be. Perhaps the witch Octavia, who was recently introduced to us. Or maybe another person? Well, Teyvat is a closed world, yeah? But it seems to be very popular, as we know from its history. You know, the first throne, Fanes, Abyss, so dragons lives on Teyvat, and then aliens. Happens. So, I will note that no matter how much criticism I have heard about the Pyro region, for me personally everything looks extremely interesting from the angle of story and lore, first of all. So we will analyze it further after the region is released. But for now, share your thoughts in comments. And thanks for watching, and remember, fight for all the beautiful in the world. Keep fire in your heart to melt all destructive obstacles with the power of love and compassion. Goodbye, and look forward for a new story.